Kwakuri seiko kubasi?
Yeah, kwakuri bonda kusuwa sha.
Munombondiswai kana kumbofona shuwa.
Yeah, sorry kwakuri busy sha. Waswera uchiteiko nasi?
Kutomenya zvangu nzunguka dzembe wona kamvura yanaya fiu totomboita kazvekuchimunda chedu chii.
Ko baby dairo ukafona?
Aina basa ifyo.
Sha, hauchaina basa. Anokanzi Cobra. Ndiani anonzi Cobra iwe?
Ukabva waziya vanhu vese here naifili.
Alice sha, hausi kundidaira. Ndati ndiani anonzi Cobra?
Mukomana wechingoro yanotengesa Cobra.
Ndipe ndizvionere chimwe ndipo phone.
Zvaita sei
Alice sha, Alice ndipo phone Alice.
Aiwa kanzi.
Ati ndimana naro Alice ndipo phone.
Iwe Alice. Ndikuvadza kani Philip ndisiye. Amai. Stop gender-based violence. Stop fighting with your partner. Dzidzai kutaurirana.
Fundani ukukhulumisana.
Musarovana.
Lingachayani.
Musakuvadzana.
Lingalimazani.
Call us today on 577 for help. This message is brought to you by SAYWHAT in partnership with United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, and the Swedish Embassy in Zimbabwe.
It's Star FM sounding good all the time. This is a Zim Papers radio broadcast simulcast. We are live on Star FM sounding good all the time on Nyami Nyami FM and on Diamond FM. I am V Candy and this program is brought to us by Say What with support from the Embassy of Sweden in Zimbabwe and UNFPA under the Spotlight Initiative. And we are still commemorating the International Day of Education, and the theme for this year is to invest in people prioritizing education. In the studio today, I am joined by Taungana Ndoro, the Director of Communications and Advocacy, Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education. Director, good morning.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Fikend.
Thank you so much for making time. Also joining us is Kumbirai Magwada, an SRHR defender. Hey, Kumbirai, good morning.
Good morning, Vikendi.
Today we're talking about drug abuse menace amongst school-going children. And the question is, where are we heading? The drug and substance abuse menace has taken the country by storm, this time involving learners at high school. And it's quite really heartbreaking and scary at the same time. And drug and substance abuse is leaving a trail of disaster. And even more terrifying is that the girl child, being central to this menace. What have we become? That's the question. You can also hit us up on our WhatsApp platform 0775 897 You can also weigh in. We are live on Facebook. I'll start with you, Director Ndoro. What is the ministry's position with regards to the latest drug abuse menace in schools?
Okay, the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education is seized with the matters of drug and substance abuse in all our schools. We have got very robust programs, particularly in terms of guidance and counseling. At every school, we insist that there has to be a lesson where learners are taught every week on guidance and counseling. In fact, we are actually trying to move it to every day, that during assemblies and even before school starts, before the class starts, when the teacher is marking the register, we are saying there should be some guidance and counseling lessons against drug and substance abuse.
Okay, so you feel that it's important for them to go through the guidance and counseling lessons to learn more about their mental health and...
Precisely, because what we're saying is I think we need to have a lot more information dissemination as a ministry within our schools on the dangers of drug and substance abuse. And if this is drilled in our pupils on a daily and a weekly basis, they will then start to understand what impact that drug and substance abuse may have on their education and also on their future.
Moving on to you, Kumbi, what do you think, as a young person yourself, is causing young people to take drugs at such a young age? As we were growing up, especially even, it's something very unsettling and shocking.
Okay, so basically mainly from my side, ndakamira mageto youths, I would say kuti my drugs kudhara anga agara ariko, but zvaive zvishoma kuma young people. But then right now it's like my young people acho like takubatwa nepeer pressure, and vamwe vedu futi havana zvekuita, so pamwe pacho tinge chida kutedzera vanhu kuti shamwari yangu iri kuzviita, so ini ndikazviita zvogonoita sei kundibatsirawo, because right now muma streets mune kasaying kekuti vema-drugs vane love, they take you in. So it's different from kana uchitamba nevamwe vanhu vasiri kuita zvema-drugs or uchiita something chiri not related to drugs. So zvinhu zvekuti nowadays it's on the leash and it's very high, because right now takuona kuti zvakambotanga zviri muma-streets but zvakutopinda futi nemuma-schools. It means kuti zvinokwanisa kutozopedzisira zvatikanganisirawo futi education system yedu zvikasaita sei, zvikasadilwa nazvo properly and quickly, because it seems like madrugs acho akungopinda nemuma-schools, zvinhu zvekuti kudhara zvanga zvisingawaniki, zvanga zvakawandira muma-streets. So sometimes my young people vanotora madrugs futi as a way yekuda kuti vafeel high, as a way of having fun. So sometimes it's an escape
So
zone.
recreationally, kuti
Yes.
vangoti I'm just taking to feel high, to feel good.
Exactly. So zvinhu zvekuti vanhu vakuita like mavuzu parties, mabush party, drugs are everywhere now. So zvinhu zvekuti isusuwo semaghetto youth tozongodzoka tobvunza kuti saka vamwe vedu kana vari kuita zvemadrugs zvinhu zvacho zviri kumbobvawo kupi, and who's responsible kuti zvinhu zvakadai so zvite sei zvisange zvichiitika kumaghetto youth, because zvaimbenge zviri muma-streets but right now zvakutopinda muma-schools.
And I think that's the scariest part here, kuti zvakupinda muma schools, nokuti taimboti maybe they don't have anything to do. That was the argument before, but then these are kids who are preoccupied with education already, and how are they making time for this? What has really happened, and how are they penetrating the drugs into that market, the school market, not just my ghetto youths, even as we saw in the Dominican convent issue, yekuti that other side, the lower density as well, they're involved in drugs. So what's really happening? Coming back to you, director, you said career guidance and counseling, that is one of the ways that you are dealing with it, but then we also want to know of the other efforts the ministry is making to address the drug abuse menace in schools.
Okay, we've got quite a number of strategies that we're employing as the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, and one of them is actually profiling our learners. And profiling our learners, it's a manner in which we identify a learner and realize that this learner probably comes from a dysfunctional home where they are exposed and vulnerable to either drug or substance abuse, and therefore they then bring that substance to the school and try to influence others. Let me also try and advise on how this has now actually escalated. Let us not forget that we had COVID-19, which closed schools for almost 7 months, which is a very, very long time for our kids not to be in school. So during that time, a lot of unintended consequences occurred because of the COVID-19 induced lockdowns. Lots of our pupils and learners started to get started to indulge in drug and substance abuse due to a lot of anxieties and discomforts and traumas. Perhaps parents and breadwinners lost their jobs. There were bereavements. Others succumbed. Those breadwinners also succumbed, perhaps even to COVID. There was a lot of pandemonium during that time in the family setting and in the community. So as a way of escaping the hardships that they were facing or the new reality that they were facing, some of these youths and some of these pupils then turned to drug and substance abuse. When we then reopened schools, you say you get addicted to drugs. They then continued using those drugs, and it has been also very difficult for us within our schools, within Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, where we have been now noticing that those learners or pupils whom we thought were well behaved before the advent of COVID now start to behave in a different way because of this drug and substance abuse. So we are trying to make sure that we identify them, we profile them, and we actually give them special sessions in which they are actually given these guidance and counseling sessions. We've got education psychologists in all our provinces. We've got a division of learner welfare, special needs, and psychological services, which is there throughout the country. And where we have got acute cases, we send our psychologists to make sure that they have one-on-one with those learners that are mostly affected.
Thank you so much for elaborating on that. If you're just tuning in, this program is brought to us by SAYWHAT with support from the Embassy of Sweden in Zimbabwe and UNFPA. Today we're talking about drug abuse menace among school-going children. Where are we heading? That's the question. You can hit us up on our WhatsApp platform 0775 897 897. Got a message here saying that it goes down to parenting. My drugs will always be there in the streets. We just need better parents who have time with their kids. Our parents back in the day were very strict. It was difficult to do so. And the morning, the problem is even the adults are involved in drugs. Got another message, Anzi, on matters to do with drugs. Pakaipa, it doesn't mean kuti information vana your teacher asisina control abereki are sending vana very spoiled. So what do you expect a school can do? And got another message here saying more time should be put kusunga madrugs distributors and drug lords, saying kuti the penalty should be more harsh for the drug lords. Coming back to you, Director.
Yes.
8 girls were recently expelled, and it is a story that's trending, from Dominican Convent School over drug and substance abuse. What is the ministry's position on this?
The position on the expulsion or the use of the substances?
Both.
Okay. Obviously, the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education does not condone the use of any drugs or intoxicating substances within our schools. Of course, we as the ministry try our best to ensure that we eradicate it completely within our schools. But as one of the other listeners said, this has to come also from the parents. We need parents to also assist us. We need the community to assist us. We need a multi-sectoral approach to this problem, because it is not only the school that is going to be able to solve this problem of drug and substance abuse. We are talking of uncles, we're talking of aunts, we're talking of what the Excellency, the First Lady's program has been about, the Gota and Nanga initiatives, which used to be there, where the girl child would go to Kunanga, vakomana vachienda mugota, votaura nana sekuru, vachiudzwa the consequences and repercussions of being involved in drug and substance abuse, whilst we in our schools also then buttress what is coming from the community and what is coming from the families, so that together we can pull together in one direction, and then we have a demand reduction of the drugs, as well as also try and have a supply reduction of the same drugs. That's in terms of the drugs. Well, in terms of the expulsion, our position as the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education is that there is a lot of engagement that needs to take place before we finally say we have expelled a learner. There are a lot of deliberations that are done wherein the head of the school is supposed to also, if the head of the school realizes that this pupil is a danger to other learners within the school, they may exclude that learner pending investigations for 2 weeks. And then when that learner, if that learner is found guilty, the head of the school, in concurrence with the district schools inspector, may then move to expel that pupil. If the parents, and the parents are also supposed to be notified of the date of expulsion and also the reason for the expulsion. And during that time, they have got about 2 weeks to appeal to the provincial education director against the appeal, during which time we may allow that learner back into the school system, unless of course the head says no. If we bring back these learners into the school system, they will actually cause disruption. There may be damage to property. There may be damage to other kids, and then after a month, the provincial education director must be able to give a determination on that matter of expulsion. But what we normally try and focus on is not normally the punitive aspect. We try and focus on the corrective aspect to make sure that we correct our learners and we rehabilitate them. Even those that are expelled, we also continue to provide them quality and relevant education in another school, after having also rehabilitated them, to say that these are the consequences of drug and substance abuse. If you do it in some school or in this school, you will then be excluded or expelled. And please, we need you to toe the line, because we want you to be of sound mind, and so that you may be able to contribute to the socio-economic development of the nation.
Thank you so much for explaining on that. I can see your messages on WhatsApp. 836 says the drug lords are known. We need to deal with the source. And this morning, I think we have totally lost the real-time parenting values. Parenting is not only biological, it's community-based. Now we have given this up for rights to these kids. And if we don't fix this, we use to have control from any adult. Now it's you. You're not my mother. And and some teachers are selling those drugs, and different messages that we're getting here. I'll come back to you, Kumbi. Your parting short here.
Okay.
Your last words.
Okay, so for me, I think that, like, as the ministry has said, on the policies which they are putting in place so that the drugs are not mashoma schools, I was actually
asatowanike maschools
yes, kuti asatowanike maschools, because vamwe vanhu vacho vari kuita zvemadrugs, they are known out there, vari kuzikanwa. And I think it's high time yekuti law enforcement vatange kunyatsotarisisa nyaya dzakadai so idzi, because macommunity vanhu vari kutaura kuti we have macases emadrugs akanetsa back then, but then those drug lords havana zvavakaitwa, vakangosiyiwa. And zvinhu zvekuti it's now on the rise. Kana mukaona zvakupinda mumaschools, what's next? So zvinhu zvekuti we really need to take it seriously as the community, as the law, as the ministry, as everyone muno muZimbabwe, so that we can at least try kuti zvinhu zvakadai so zviderere zvisaitike, because through madrugs kuchauya ma-STIs, kuchauya ma-early pregnancies, and a lot is going to happen. Inenge havoc and chaos in the world zvekuti we might not be able to put an end to it, but then if we act quickly and we use the right methods, I think zvinokwanisa kutibatsira.
Got a message here saying the issue about shisha cans, which have been legalized, should also be looked into. We should ban them as well. So just different messages that I'm getting here. Director, your last words, your parting shot here.
Our parting shot is that as the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, we would like all partners and players, parents, guardians, community leaders, members of parliament, other line ministries to assist us to curb this scourge that has affected our pupils, the drug and substance abuse, because we are here to ensure that we provide quality and relevant education for all Zimbabweans, in order that we may be able to attain Vision 2030 of a prosperous and empowered a middle income economy. But we can only do that when we have got pupils and learners who are clean of drugs right now, who are clean of any substance abuse right now, such that by the year 2030 they are the ones who will be leading this country from glory to glory. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director Taungana Ndoro, Director of Communications and Advocacy, Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education. Also joining me in studio, Kumbirai Magwada, SRHR Defender. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. We're talking about drug abuse menace amongst school-going children. Where are we heading? That's the question. You can also continue to answer that question. This program, of course, brought to us by SAYWHAT, with support from Embassy of Sweden in Zimbabwe and UNFPA. Until next week, thank you so much for listening.